Hi, I'm Tony Schrader, Chairman of the Putnam County Republican Party. On the road again today in Columbus, and delighted to be joined by our good friend Jane Timken. It's good to have you with us today, Jane.
Thank you, Chairman.
She has moved on from her role as being the best chairman of any state party in the United States to being a candidate for the United States Senate, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit about that.
Sounds great to me.
We were delighted to host her at Lincoln Day. We wanted to add a little bit of additional information just to kind of give the viewers at home a little bit more of a connection, and so they would understand a little bit more how you became involved. And actually, it's something Tom and I were talking about earlier. We were kind of curious about what drew you to politics in the first place.
Sure.
How did you actually get involved in political activity?
Well, back in 2010 when they passed Obamacare, I was very concerned, incensed, and very upset. Mm-hmm. I saw it as the first signal that the Democrats were going to start to take over our health care and our lives. Mm-hmm. I had been involved in Republican Party politics more as a donor and a fundraiser. I'd host Republican candidates and help them raise money, advocate for them, but back in 2010, I said, enough is enough, can't sit on the sidelines anymore. I stepped up and I became the vice chair of the Stark County Republican mm-hmm. Party. And we started recruiting really good candidates, ones who were qualified for the jobs. And we worked really hard, knocking doors on their behalf, making phone calls. And I'm proud to say Stark County, which once was all Democrat, is now a Republican-dominated party.
Fantastic.
Republican-dominated county. And then, I think we can talk about my history of stepping up to run for chair.
Exactly, and that's something Tom and I were involved in, both of us, in a role there, but in particularly the transition. One thing we talked about over and over again, and which I impress on people all the time, our relationship with the Ohio Republican Party pre-2016 stank. Yep. Frankly, it was bad. We had very little of a connection with them. I think, like much of rural Ohio, the party kind of took Northwest Ohio for granted, which turned out to be obviously a mistake. That all changed when you became chairman. Yes. Absolutely changed, and changed overnight is the other thing we've talked about, is just how quickly. We were reminiscing the first time we invited you to Putnam County, you said yes before you knew what you were getting into. And then you had to call us back and tell us that you couldn't come because you were going to the White House.
That's right.
So, which we remember well. So you decided that it was time to step up, and you ran for party chairman.
Right, exactly. So as I was vice chair of the Stark County Republican Party, I could see from the inside that the state party was crumbling and failing mm-hmm. and had zero relationship with the rest of the counties. And I could see the mismanagement and what was happening. And again, I'm not the kind of person who can sit on the sidelines. If I see a problem, I'm going to take it head on. Mm-hmm. So I was encouraged by many folks to step up and run. This was right after the 2016 election mm-hmm. when the Ohio Republican Party publicly pulled away from our nominee, President Donald Trump. Right. And I said, this is ridiculous. The Trump campaign basically divorced themselves from the Ohio Republican Party. So someone need to step up and take leadership of mm-hmm. the party. So I did that with the endorsement and support of President Trump, and he was making phone calls for me to be chair. And they told me it couldn't be done. You can't run against the Kasich regime. You can't run against Matt Borges. But I ran a statewide campaign in a little less than 5 to 6 weeks, and I won by one vote.
Yes, indeed, and it turned out to be the most consequential vote.
Correct.
Probably that could have happened, because when you ran for re-election as chairman, you were re-elected unanimously.
Exactly.
So we can say from personal testimony just how effective our relationship with the Ohio Republican Party became, how you had reshaped not only the state party, but had vastly improved communication with county parties. And one thing you deserve a lot of credit for, which you really didn't get enough credit for at the time, I think, was stopping that blue wave in 2018.
Right.
We talked about the blue wave sweeping across the United States, and it stopped at the Ohio River.
That's right.
Because of the work you and your team did at that time. Even in 2020, in the aftermath of what happened in the House of Representatives, helping with their own fundraising and get out the vote operation, that allowed us to cement the victory that we had in the Ohio General Assembly. And I don't think you ever got enough credit for that. So you're getting it now.
Well, thanks. Look, it was very critical. We needed, history would say that we were likely to lose our statewide races. And it was very critical that we win our statewide races and keep
Absolutely.
our congressional delegation in 2018. We worked incredibly hard, and it's those fundamentals to these campaigns. And I will tell you, I know how to win in Ohio. You have to be out there knocking doors,
Absolutely.
making phone calls, delivering the right message to the voters, and then turning out the voters.
Exactly
And
right.
that's exactly what we did with the help of a lot of you. And we all worked together as a team and delivered some really strong results. And you see, that's why I'm getting a lot of endorsements across the state.
Absolutely.
Because people respect my leadership. They respect me. I have the endorsement of over 105 Republican leaders across the state.
Absolutely.
And it's geographically diverse, and very encouraged by the support we're getting.
Well, and the thing I mentioned to Tom that it always stuck in my head is because of how active we are on social media and having one of the largest followings in the state. As we were watching other county parties and you're seeing, photos of the folks out campaigning this weekend, and there in the background is Jane Timken knocking on a door or handing out a flyer
Yep.
or holding a banner, or you were everywhere.
Yes.
You were everywhere.
And that's what I'm known for. I put 150,000 miles in 2 cars traveling the
Wow.
state. When I was vice chair back in 2010, I was out knocking doors and making phone calls. I did it all the time. In fact, I started doing some of that in the 2004 Bush election, but really in 2010. And as a chairman, I've done it. And actually, our campaign about 3 weeks ago started our door knocking campaign, and we're recruiting over 100 interns, and these are fired up, charged young people who
Ready
are going
to
to be
roll.
helping the Jane Timken campaign.
Oh, that's great.